The main reasons of child trafficking in our community. Child trafficking is a grave concern in Bangladesh, driven by a complex mix of socioeconomic, cultural, and systemic factors. As one of the most densely populated and disaster-prone countries in the world, Bangladesh faces challenges such as extreme poverty, frequent natural calamities, and limited access to education, which increases the vulnerability of children. Many families, desperate to improve their existing condition, fall victim to traffickers' false promises of employment or education for their children. Cultural norms, gender biases, and the demand for cheap labor further exacerbate the situation. Additionally, weak law enforcement, corruption, and inadequate child protection systems create an environment where traffickers operate with impunity. Addressing these root causes is critical to protect children and to combat trafficking in Bangladesh. Poverty and economic hardship. One of the most significant reasons for child trafficking in our community is widespread poverty. Families struggling to meet basic needs may fall prey to traffickers' promises of better opportunities for their children, such as education, employment, or a secure future. Parents often believe these offers are genuine, unaware that their children may end up exploited. Socioeconomic inequality. The growing gap between the rich and the poor exacerbates vulnerabilities. Marginalized communities with limited access to resources, healthcare, and education are disproportionately targeted by traffickers who exploit their desperation for better opportunities. Gender discrimination and cultural practices. Cultural norms and gender biases often put girls at greater risk of trafficking. In some cases, girls are seen as financial burdens, leading families to believe that sending them away might improve their circumstances. Traffickers exploit these cultural practices by offering false promises of marriage or job opportunities. Breakdown of family structures. Family breakdowns due to divorce, domestic violence, or the death of a parent leave children unprotected and at risk. Traffickers often exploit these unstable family situations by offering children false assurances of care, shelter, or employment. Orphan or abandoned children. Children who are orphaned or abandoned due to family breakdowns, poverty, or natural disasters are especially vulnerable to trafficking. Without a reliable support system, these children are more likely to fall prey to traffickers who promise shelter, food, or a better future, only to exploit them. Natural disasters and displacement. In disaster-prone areas such as Shyamnagar, southwestern district Sathura in Bangladesh, frequent natural calamities such as cyclones and floods force families to leave their homes, disrupting livelihoods and social structures. Displaced children, often separated from their communities, become easy targets for traffickers who exploit their vulnerability. Demand for cheap and exploitable labor. Child labor remains a persistent problem, driven by the demand for cheap and easily exploitable labor. Industries such as agriculture, domestic work, and brick kilns often employ trafficked children under inhumane conditions. These industries exploit children because they are less likely to demand fair treatment or pay. Lack of education and awareness. Marginalized communities lack knowledge about the risks of trafficking. They are often unaware of how traffickers operate or how to safeguard their children. This lack of awareness makes families vulnerable to deception, as traffickers prey on their ignorance and desperation. Inadequate child protection systems. Insufficient child protection mechanisms, including lack of shelters, monitoring systems, and trained personnel, contribute to the prevalence of child trafficking. Without strong systems in place, children remain vulnerable to being lured or coerced by trafficking networks. Weak law enforcement and corruption. Inadequate law enforcement and corruption within the system allow traffickers to operate with impunity. Lack of resources, training, and coordination among authorities hampers the fight against child trafficking. Corruption may also lead to traffickers evading justice, perpetuating the cycle of exploitation. Border proximity and cross-border networks. Communities near international borders face heightened risks of child trafficking due to the presence of cross-border trafficking networks. Traffickers take advantage of porous borders and weak monitoring systems to transport children for labor or exploitation in other regions or countries. We can conclude that address the above-mentioned issues requires a holistic approach involving community engagement, education, stronger legal frameworks, and coordinated action among all by stakeholders to protect vulnerable children. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.